I need to cut my hair, so let's talk about why. I'm first just going to share with you why I believe my hair does need to be cut, and then secondly, why I pretty much don't want to cut it. So, firstly, last week I released a video showing really up close and personal with the ends of my hair. And that was a really detailed video of me sharing the fact that I was concerned that maybe my hair was thinning. I just didn't know whether it was excessive thinning. I was asking the question to all of you watching, what do you guys think? Do you guys think I'm dealing with thinning? Do you think my ends need to be trimmed? It was a really good conversation in the comments. But what happened after that was African Hair God, or AKA Narada, he did an online review of that video. And it was crazy because I'm subscribed to his channel. And so I saw the notification on my phone a bit late into it while he was almost finishing up. And I just clocked that my channel name was in there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. So I jumped in and he was doing a review of my hair. Anyway, when I looked back, he explained that he did believe that my hair was thinning, and he believes that about 2 inches should go. And then what I can do is in around about 4 months' time, if I still see that hard line of where I've trimmed my hair, then I will actually know that my hair doesn't have to grow out to that thin stage. It can stay thick as long as I am just keeping up with trimming as needed. Now, he doesn't recommend trimming every 4 to 6 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks or whatever it is, but what he explained, and I thought this was a really good explanation, is when natural hair begins to thin out, what happens is the ends, because they are thinner, there's less hair strands here. And when there are less hair strands, then those strands are weaker. Okay. I think of it like an army, right? When you have an army, when there are more in the army, that army is stronger. But when there are less in the army, it's weaker. And I have explained a similar thing when I talk about plaiting my hair as well, even though I don't plait my hair that often. But there's a scripture in the Bible, it talks about a three-strand cord is not quickly or not easily broken. So because there are 3 strands, bind or bound together, as opposed to maybe 2 strands or 1 strand, it's harder to break. But when we're talking about thinning and when we're dealing with thinning, then the last few strands of hair towards the end, there's less of them, and so they're weaker. They can't fight against the elements as well as my hair up here can. I hope that makes sense. So that's one of the reasons why I feel I need to cut some of my hair off. A second reason, and I've got my notes here, this is what I'm looking at. The second reason is I have noticed that my ends have been snagging much more when I'm styling my hair. Not so much when I'm washing my hair, when I'm moisturizing my hair, blow drying. Well, it's not that I blow dry very often, but just when I'm styling my hair, mainly, I do notice detangling. That's the other thing. When I'm detangling and when I'm styling, I notice that my ends are snagging much more. And that means that I'm having to take my time, much more time with my hair. So then it becomes more time consuming. So that's another reason. Another thing I've noticed is that I'm adding a lot more product to the ends of my hair. Now, I do personally encourage, and I do it myself, I do add a bit more. Whatever product I'm using, I typically add more to the ends of my hair because they're the ends, because they're the oldest parts of the hair. However, I've noticed that I'm using a lot more product at the ends of my hair, and it's almost like it's rejecting it. So that really tells me, you know, these ends are kind of gonna need to go, right? Yes, there are people like Indigenous Strands who has been able to grow her hair so long without trimming. And I really commend her for that. You know, that's her journey that she has decided to walk on. And in one way, it would have been amazing to do that, but I just know me, right? I just know me. And just thinking on that, right? When I went to a hairstylist, she's actually one of my good friends, probably about 3 years ago now. And I remember I think I blow dried my hair, but then she blow dried it again when we got there. Because I only went in for a trim. So after she trimmed my hair, I'm telling you, it felt so good. I ran my hands through my hair and it didn't snag at any point. It just felt so good. It felt so soft. It felt like cotton. Well, not cotton, because it's hard to run your hands through cotton. But anyway, yeah, I just remember that feeling and I loved that feeling. And I love every time I can run my hands straight through my hair without any resistance. I literally love that feeling. And so the fact that I was able to just sit and reflect and think about that reminded me, you know, as much as I understand that the thinning, that I can still grow out my hair with it thinning, I was kind of thinking, I don't know if I want to though, because I do remember that feeling of running my hands through my hair and not feeling any snagging whatsoever. I don't know. Anyway, let me just carry on. So that's another reason. Another reason why I feel I need to cut my hair is I believe detangling and styling is going to be much quicker. As I said, I'm taking a lot more of my time because of all the snagging at my ends. So when I come to detangle, when I come to style, it's going to be so much easier, so much quicker. And then lastly, another reason why I believe that I need to trim my hair is I was watching a video from Green Beauty. Love her, by the way. Why does she not make videos anymore? Like, come back to YouTube, we need you. Anyway, and she did a video on how she would typically trim her hair every 4 months, but she did an experiment to extend her trims so that she could test to see how her ends react. And what she found was that the longer she went without trimming is the less length she was able to retain. Okay, so let me rephrase that in another way. She was saying that she retained more length by trimming every 4 months than she did trimming every 8 months. So I, again, just take from that video, it goes back to the first point that we made and that Narada made on his video. Because of the ends thinning out and weathering and becoming weaker, then it actually prevents us retaining more length because of all the snagging. It's like breakage produces more breakage, or split ends produce more split ends. Does that make sense? Whereas if all the ends are healthy and all, you know, tightly compacted and wrapped together, then they are all protecting each other, meaning we're able to retain length better. So those are some of the key reasons as to why I feel I need to cut my hair. But I'm gonna be real with you guys. Let's talk about why I actually don't want to cut it. Okay, if you are a regular to this channel, then you know that I am on a journey of growing my hair from shaved to tailbone length, and I want to do that within 7 years. That was the time frame I set. I didn't set it out of the blue. I set it by measuring how long it would take me to get from shaved to my tailbone. And one of the reasons why I don't want to cut my hair is because I then have to accept that I'm not going to get to tailbone length in 7 years. And I'm like, man, I built a whole channel around this goal. And of course, I'm sure you guys aren't watching me to, like, you're not watching me necessarily just to see me hit the goal on time. I know it's not about that. There are so much more other things that I share on this channel. I'm constantly sharing what I'm doing to retain length and what other people are doing and all the stuff that I'm learning along the way. So I know you're getting great value. But for me, it's like, man, I set this goal, I set this time frame, and it would just be a real shame for me to, at this point, at 6 years in, nearly 6 years in, I'm basically having to admit I'm not going to get there at the 7-year mark. And that's kind of sad. That's slightly sad. So that's the first reason why I don't really want to trim my hair. Okay. The second reason is after the online review of my hair, I straight away made the decision. I was like, yeah, right, I'm getting rid of it. I'm getting rid of those 2 inches and maybe even a little bit more. I just wanted that fresh start, right? So I had made that decision. And then as I was trying to go to sleep that night, I was up for hours. Okay, maybe not hours. Like probably about an hour. Thinking about this and worrying about this and having a bit of anxiety about, do I really want to trim my hair? Am I still going to reach my goal? What are people going to think? But should I do it because everybody else was saying I don't need to? I don't feel like I need to. Maybe I should just wait till I get to waist length and do it then. Like, the thoughts were crazy, absolutely crazy. So genuinely, like, I felt like I was getting anxious about the idea of doing it. But to be honest, as I wrote the notes for this video and as I'm talking it out right now, I actually think that I'm again going back to that place of, yeah, I'm pretty much ready to make that cut. Because I think the main thing for me, the main thing that made it hard is that 7-year goal. And I just had to remind myself that, okay, it was just a time frame. Do you know what I mean? The destination itself is still going to be the destination. The destination is tailbone length. That destination isn't going to change. I'm still going to get there. But as for when I get there, does it really matter if it's 7 years or if it's 7.5 or if it's 8 years or if it's 8.5? Does it really matter? No. Does anybody watching actually care? Probably not. So I had to kind of just settle that in my mind. Like, the time frame isn't actually that serious. Okay, I had to check that we were still recording and we're all good. Sometimes this phone just be cutting off right in the middle of the filming. Anyway, another reason why I was feeling like I don't want to cut my hair is because of your comments. Honestly, on the last video, I felt so much support. When I posted that video, initially I was thinking, oh my God, I'm opening myself up to ridicule. Everyone's going to be like, oh, your ends are trash. Get rid of them. Cut your hair off, start again, do a big chop. Like, I was a bit concerned. But in the comments, everyone was so supportive. So many of you understood what I was saying about the fact that because I constantly search and destroy, I use that technique to trim off my split ends and single strand knots. no wonder my ends are thinner, right? Then a lot of you understood the fact that hair is growing out at different lengths and all of that, and just everything that I was talking about on that video. So many of you really understood, and that made me feel like, I don't actually need to cut my ends. Yeah, I can. I remember one person agreed with my point about, yeah, why not just get to waist length, and then, because you don't want to grow it anymore, then begin to keep up with your regular trims. And like, oh man, that was just, yeah, that was one of the things I was considering doing. And then another comment which really stood out to me, I don't even think I responded to it yet because I kind of didn't really know how to, but this person said, I'll put it up on the screen. This person said, basically the problem that they have with me is that in my videos, I always seem to have scissors in my hand. I don't know if I've noticed that really, but it also doesn't surprise me because I am a scissor happy person when it comes to my hair. Like, I'm going to be honest, I am scissor happy when it comes to my hair. Going back to when I said I have been to a hairstylist, and there was, I think, 1 or 2 times when I went to her. Not that time where I said I was running my hands through my hair and I loved it, but another time, I think I went to her for a trim, and when I went home afterwards, I trimmed off more. I just wanted a bit more to go. And so in general, yeah, I am a scissor happy person when it comes to my hair. I want, if it's not supposed to be there, I don't want it there. Split ends, don't want it. Single strand knots, don't want it. Breakage, don't want it. No. I don't want it. And so now that I'm experiencing this thinning, I don't know if I've said this yet, but one thing I've noticed is I almost feel like I have gotten used to the ends of my hair being a bit more difficult. And I think I was saying before that, yes, I have to take more time with detangling and things like that. But I think I've gotten used to my natural hair feeling that way, when in reality, even when I still had natural hair, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, and I got that trim and I was running my hands through my hair and it was feeling good. That's how I enjoyed feeling my hair. And I think I've just got to a point where I've gotten so used to dealing with the ends of my hair that I'm thinking that this is how my hair is supposed to be. But yeah, I think what it all comes down to is potentially just trimming off those 2 inches, checking back in 4 months' time. Is that hard line still there? Because then it lets me know, you know what? My hair doesn't have to thin out at the ends. It doesn't have to if I don't want it to. I can just choose to keep it thicker at the ends, keep up with, that feeling of being able to run my hands all the way through, because the ends are just really healthy. I think it's really just the split ends, to be honest. I think it's mainly the split ends, not split ends, sorry. Single strand knots. I think it's mainly the single strand knots that cause a lot of the snagging, and I just find them really annoying. But anyway, listen, if you haven't seen the last video where I was showing the ends of my hair in great detail, I'm putting it on the screen now, so go ahead and watch that video next.